This morning, fans and co-stars are mourning the shocking death of Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the actor best known as Theo Huxtable on The Cosby Show. Costa Rican officials say Warner drowned Sunday afternoon in the province of Limon. The 54-year-old was swept away by the sea's current before bystanders were able to pull him out of the water, but he had no vital signs.
The internet has been shaken by the devastating news of Malcolm-Jamal Warner's sudden death. But hold on, this story isn't as straightforward as it first seemed. At first, it was reported as nothing more than a freak accident. But now, new details are emerging that have fans questioning everything. From what we're hearing, Malcolm's family has been quietly battling behind the scenes, holding back certain information until now. They're done staying silent, and the claims coming out are absolutely chilling. Some insiders suggest Malcolm may not have simply passed away. They believe he might have been targeted. And when you look at the timing, it feels a little too perfect to be a coincidence. Even more unsettling, just days before his death, Malcolm reportedly shared cryptic warnings with those close to him. If what's being said is true, this wasn't some random accident. It was planned.
Life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
And now, the truth is threatening to blow this case wide open. We'll break it down for you, but you tell us what you think in the comments. Was this really an accident, or something much darker? Malcolm's passing shocked the world because, on the surface, there were no warning signs. The official report claims he drowned while swimming at Clay Beach in Costa Rica during a family vacation. Now, that beach already has a reputation for its rough waters and dangerous undercurrents. Sources say those same conditions were present on the day Malcolm went for a swim. Authorities say bystanders rushed to help when they saw him struggling, but by the time Costa Rica's Red Cross arrived, it was too late. He was pulled from the water unresponsive and later declared dead. Local police were quick to dismiss any rumors of foul play, calling it a tragic accident, nothing more. But here's where things take a turn. While the public was still trying to process the heartbreaking news, Malcolm's inner circle was already raising red flags. According to multiple sources, his family doesn't buy the official story. They've reportedly been pointing out details that just don't add up, quietly pushing for answers behind closed doors. To them, this wasn't just a tragic accident. It felt like something much deeper was going on. What's really got people side-eyeing this whole situation is how little information has actually come out. And honestly, that's weird. We're talking about Clay Beach here. It's not some hidden, private stretch of sand. This place is usually packed with tourists, locals, and casual beachgoers. So how is it that not one single person managed to capture a photo, a video, or even share a detailed eyewitness account? Now sure, you could argue that it's inappropriate to record someone in such a tragic moment. And in a perfect world, people would have the decency to put their phones down. But let's be real, when has the internet ever followed that rule, especially when a celebrity is involved? Usually, whether it's out of shock, clout chasing, or just sheer curiosity, somebody hits record. Yet here, we've got nothing. Not a single blurry clip. Not even a random beachgoer posting a secondhand story about what they saw. For a lot of fans, and even Malcolm's family, that silence isn't just strange, it's downright suspicious. And then there's the lifeguard situation, or should we say, the lack of lifeguards. Reports confirm there weren't any on duty that day, with the Caribbean Guard blaming it on resource issues. But here's the kicker. This same beach has been flagged as dangerous for years. They knew about the strong currents. So, why wasn't anyone patrolling? Why weren't there clear warning signs posted? And get this, right after Malcolm's death, they suddenly announced that they were redirecting resources back to that beach, plus another one with similar risks. Convenient, right? Almost too convenient. If that's not enough to raise an eyebrow, the timeline of what happened that day is a complete mess. Reports can't agree on how long Malcolm was in the water, how many people tried to help him, or exactly when emergency responders arrived.
What we both understood is we get to 100 episodes, we're going to have a sweet indication. We were like, hey, however we feel about one another, we're going to get this money. We're going to get this 100 episodes. ultimately,
These conflicting details are only fueling speculation. If this were just a straightforward accident, why is the timeline so impossible to pin down? Malcolm fought hard for roles that actually meant something, characters that showed his depth and proved he was so much more than the sitcom kid the world first met. A few of those roles came his way, but
Think about
so
that
many
era.
didn't.
It was all positive black content, intentional positive black content, but then it just seemed like it just shifted.
Yeah.
You think that was purposely done?
Yeah, it was like a reaction to, like, we had this couple of years of, like, family and positivity, and not just in black sitcoms, in sitcom period. Like, it was the family values, it was positivity. Then there was The Simpsons. Then there was Roseanne. Right, so that kind of kicked off. It was almost like there was a backlash to the family values and positivity. So I 100% wholeheartedly believe it was
All the professional frustration, there was something else, something he never spoke about out loud. In the year leading up to his death, something in him had shifted. He never announced it, never made it public. Privately, he'd been dealing with episodes of chest tightness. Every time, he brushed it off, blaming stress, age, or simple exhaustion. He'd laugh it away, call it nothing serious, anything but what it really might have been. Interview. Beneath all the professional
they were
frustration,
tired of me
there was something else.
fighting with the writers about their writing, and then they were tired of Eddie's shenanigans, whatever. I mean, just
Beneath
Eddie.
all the professional frustration, there was something else. Something Malcolm never spoke about. In the year before his death, he begun having these strange episodes, chest tightening, breath catching. Every time he brushed it off. Stress, age, exhaustion. His wife begged him to see a doctor. He'd nod, promise, then change the subject. Whether it was pride, fear, or not wanting to look vulnerable. Even to the people who loved him most, he stayed quiet, smiling, pushing through the pain like he always did. And then he was gone. The autopsy from Costa Rica listed the official cause: asphyxiation by drowning. But tucked inside that report was one quiet, haunting note: an irregular heart rhythm. Not enough to declare it the cause, but enough to plant the question that would never leave her. Did his heart fail before the ocean ever touched him? Was there something he never told her? She would never know. But she knew this. Malcolm carried more than anyone could see. Quiet burdens, heavy secrets, and now she was the only one left to hold them. When his body came home, the world became chaos. Phone calls, cameras, co-stars, friends, flowers. And then the thing that shook everyone even more: the timing. Just 2 days before the drowning, Malcolm had released what would become his final podcast episode, Not All Hood, where he spoke about survival, identity, and breaking free from the boxes the world tries to put you in.
It was a miserable experience.
Oh, no.
And I have my version. Eddie has, his version. I'm sure he's told countless, have you...
That's haunting fans everywhere. Black survival in itself is Black excellence. Now, after everything that's happened, those words feel heavier. The message hits differently. For many, it doesn't read like just another deep thought. It feels like a goodbye, a warning, a final statement he may not have even realized would be his last. Or maybe he did. Either way, the timing is far too suspicious to brush off. It's quickly becoming a key piece of the puzzle for those convinced Malcolm's death was anything but an accident. Here's where things get unsettling. Malcolm wasn't just another celebrity. He had a reputation for speaking his mind, loudly, especially about race, power, and identity. In that final podcast episode, he didn't hold back. He was raw, unfiltered, unapologetic. And it wasn't the first time. In a separate interview, Malcolm openly called out the mainstream media for twisting and flattening the image of Black men, reducing them to one-dimensional stereotypes and silencing their voices. He spoke about the exhaustion of constantly having to fight against those labels. That honesty earned him respect, but it might also have put a target on his back. Now, fans online are connecting disturbing dots. Outspoken Black voices who challenge powerful systems, suddenly going silent. Stories wrapped up in tragic accidents that never quite add up. With Malcolm, that pattern feels far too familiar. In that same podcast, he tore into how the media recycles the same tired, hood narrative, ignoring the depth, beauty, and complexity of Black life. He called it out for what it is, not just lazy, but dangerous. Then came the line that's now echoing everywhere. Black survival in itself is Black excellence. He flipped the entire idea of Black excellence. To Malcolm, it wasn't about fame, money, or status. It was about existing, thriving, in a world that constantly tries to erase you. That was true excellence. But here's the part no one can ignore. That episode dropped just 48 hours before his death. For a lot of fans, that timing doesn't feel random. They're not treating it like just another podcast. They're treating it like a statement, maybe even a warning. And here's where it gets darker. Word is, Malcolm's family doesn't think the timing was an accident either. There's a rumor they believe he was using that episode to send a message, not just to listeners, but to certain powerful people who didn't like what he was saying. For 10 days after his death, the family said nothing. His wife stayed in their bedroom, wrapped in one of his sweatshirts, holding on to the last trace of his scent before it faded. Their daughter was kept far from the flashing cameras at the gate, far from the world that had turned their heartbreak into a headline. She didn't cry. She didn't speak. Grief sat on her chest like a weight she couldn't lift. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, crushing. She spent hours scrolling through old videos on her phone, clips of him laughing during interviews, performing spoken word, cradling their baby girl to sleep. It didn't feel real. It was like watching a ghost in slow motion, a ghost you didn't even realize you'd lost until it was gone. Still, the world wanted her to speak. They wanted a polished statement, a sit-down interview, a picture-perfect performance of grief. But she couldn't. She wouldn't. She didn't owe the world anything. And Malcolm? He hated the circus. He spent his life protecting his peace, not performing for the crowd. So she disappeared. No press. No tribute specials. No statements for the cameras.